What's happening, everybody? Good afternoon. It's time for another episode of Selling Past Your Expiration Date, Being Thrifty Over 50. I'm Jay.
And I'm Peg. Hi, everybody. What's happening?
Why don't I hear you all of a sudden, Mommy? What's going on here?
Well, it's been a busy day, as some of you know.
Hang on a minute.
Yep.
Hang on.
Uh-oh. No sound?
Yeah, you are way low all of a sudden.
I don't know why.
Hang on a minute. Let me get you, bring your mic up. There we go. All right, say something. Mommy?
Yeah, I'm turned up all the way. Do you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, you turn up has nothing to do with it.
Oh, okay.
That's your speakers, not your microphone. All right, I think we're all good now.
We'll try this again, everybody.
Yep. All right. So it is episode 4. Thank you for tuning in. We are excited to be here, do it all over again. I don't foresee us having an actual time and date anytime in the near future, just based on our 2 crazy schedules. So Fridays have worked out the last 2 weeks, and we'll see what next week brings. And usually I pick our topics based on just some conversation with Mom or somebody else. And our good friend Margaret Collier, Texas Gal Treasures, last week in her haul video showed a box of shells. And I'm like, oh, Mom and I know shells really well. And, geez, I've never seen anyone in any group, any forum talk about seashells and the money they can bring. And they're fun to collect. So.
Right. Let me give everyone just a little bit of a background. Did you hear my echo? Is it okay? All right. My folks used to own a condo down in Fort Myers Beach, Florida. And every spring, of course, we'd load up the kids and take them down. And those of you who are familiar with the Fort Myers Beach, Sanibel area know it is known very well for its seashells. Back when the kids were young, it was okay to take the shells as well as live shells. Today you don't dare touch a live shell or you will get fined if they catch you. So, you know, what rolls up on the beach you can take, but if they're alive, you cannot take them. So, wow. So the kids learned all about shelling. We shelled for hours. They learned so much. We all learned. I mean, we were babes in the woods, and the next thing we knew, we were aficionados about seashells. So we got a lot to show you, a lot to tell you today. I think you're going to enjoy it. So, Jace, how do you want to start it off?
Well, you know, I was going to say, what makes Peg and I experts to tell you about shells? Well, like she said, I started shelling when I was about 4, and by the time I was 6 or 7, I was reading the low tide charts in the daily paper to set my alarm to get up at like 4:30 in the morning so we could hit the sandbars and go shelling. Now, how many kids you know at 6 and 7 years old want to get up at 4:30 and go out in the dark and go shelling? It was pretty awesome. So somebody wants to know what a live shell is. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
But let me show you some pictures that Mom dug up, and the reason why we're talking about this, so you can see our pedigree, if you will. So my grandparents were snowbirds, and so they spent the winters in Fort Myers, and we go down and visit, and this was their the door to their condo with our Gone Shelling sign on it. So we would go out shelling, and sometimes we go out shelling twice a day because there's low tides twice a day.
Right.
So what's my next picture to share here? Yep, so here's an early picture of me shelling, and everyone could collectively go, "Aw, how cute."
As you can see, we're making sand castles in the background using the shells that we found.
Yep, so we're putting the shells in the castle, so that's pretty cool. And I got to figure out there's a way to go from one picture to the next when we're sharing. Here is me and my grandmother Nana and my great-grandmother Apple. We are shelling in Fort Myers. I had a sweet bucket hat on with some sweet ash swim trunks on there.
Yeah, dig those bathing suits, huh? My mom.
Yeah. And let's see what's next. Where is it? This is called the Sanibel Bends. If you've ever been to Sanibel, you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Yep.
The way that the shoreline is in Sanibel, there's mountains of seashells, just mountains.
Oh, loaded.
So all day long you are bent over digging for those treasures.
And they even sell T-shirts with the Sanibel Bends picture on there of people.
Yep.
Yep.
And is this you, Ma, digging?
Yep, that's me digging.
Digging. And a couple more here that will actually get into the shells. But I wanted to share with you guys because you get a kick out of this. So we went on a pontoon boat, and we went off shelling on some like little islands.
Huh?
At the end, we were on this little island, and the captain brought a bunch of live sand dollars, and there's some giant whelks there,
Yeah.
and some sea urchins and stuff. So even though we found stuff, he brought stuff for us to take. Oh, that's O'Bean in the picture. Cool.
Yes, it is. And Nana.
So that's my grandparents right there, O'Bean and Nana. And then you got to clean your shells. So here I am. Uh-oh, I forgot to warn you, child in underwear. Here I am cleaning my shells at the kitchen sink. Because as Mom said back in the day, they were alive. So you got to boil the animal out of it, and then you would clean up your shell, and you would have your shell for display. So that was me at the kitchen sink cleaning up the shells and getting them pretty. So every year when I got back from the spring break trip, I would do a presentation for my class, and I would teach them all about seashells every year, and it was a big hit. And then this shot it's a little blurry, but we also made arts and crafts. So we discovered the joys of hot glue guns, and then we would start making stuff. So there's our arts and crafts.
It was fun. It was a great sharing time together with the kids, and everybody got involved. So it was great for us.
And I don't recall us ever whining and complaining to getting up early and heading out.
No, and besides the early mornings, we went out shelling late at night in the dark. We'll tell you about that.
Yeah, a lot of flashlights, a lot of digging with your feet. So this is a little hard to tell, but the shells are sitting in the background drying on the patio. So you got to clean them up. And some things got to bleach, and we'll talk about that. And then so you got to let them sit outside so they air out. Okay, so let's talk about how a seashell is. For those of you, and I know there's people watching who've never been to the beach, have never seen a seashell. So in this, this is basically the skeleton of the animal. Their skeleton is on the outside, ours is on the inside. Our skeleton grows as we grow, so does this. So there's a like gooey animal in here, and he's got a foot right here that when he retracts back into his shell, kind of protects him. So when an animal dies and this shell is just rolling around empty, that's when hermit crabs move into the shell.
Right.
And so as a hermit crab grows, of course, the shell is not going to grow anymore. So a hermit crab will leave one shell for a bigger shell. And that's just the life of shells.
The live animal that is in these shells, and mine's the same one that Jason did show you, but it just happens to be larger. And this is one of the ones that we found going on that pontoon boat ride. When the animal is alive, there is a protective covering over the animal called the foot. And it's a hard thing. And we used to save them, and I'm sorry to say that I don't have any more, because they make the shell more valuable if you have the foot of the creature.
We're going to show that. Plus, I learned what that foot was called last night when I was doing my research.
Good. So that's all about when the shells are alive. And plus, the color is more vibrant on the shell when the animal is still in the shell alive. So you'll notice the difference in that too.
Now, we're talking about actual shell, and you saw pictures of me doing it as a kid. But a lot of what I'm going to show you today, I have procured from a thrift store or a garage sale or an estate sale. And you get them cheap. And with Mom and I, it works into our house decor, so nothing ever leaves. But if this is not your decor and you find them, don't skip them. I'm going to show you stuff. There is tons of money to be made.
Yes.
And the best shelling's on the Gulf. It's the way the tides are. It's the way, you do not find shelling. So when I was young, because I only shelled on the Gulf, I thought as I got older, every place I went where there was shoreline, there would be shelling. And that's certainly not the case.
No.
The Gulf is where it's at.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're just loaded. And like I say, when you go out to Sanibel Island, I mean, you don't walk on sand, you walk on shells. It's just mounds and mounds of shells.
Yep. All right, so let's go over some live. Let's go over some examples here in our hands.
Okay.
And then I'm going to show you what they're selling for to show you, yeah, there is money to be made. So Mom and I just showed you this is the Florida horse conch.
Let me get mine out here.
Mine's a little dirty, a little beat.
Yeah.
And what happens too is if the animal moves out of it and the crab moves out of it and it just rolls around the wash for a while, it really starts to get beat up and lose its luster, and the outside gets all kind of dingy. And actually, I'm going to shut my shade here.
Yeah, so don't forget, this is a Florida horse conch.
Oh, look at that. Much better. Yay.
Yeah, much. Okay.
All right, so hang on. I'm going to click over to you there, Mom.
All right.
Yep, so that's a Florida horse conch, way bigger. Now, to show you an example of a smaller version, here, I'll click back to me here. this is one of my displays. So I took a lot of my smaller shells and I had this great glass bowl and I just filled it in here. So that's one of my displays. But in here I have a bunch of different things. And so here's a smaller version of the Florida horse conch.
Yep.
So when I was younger and we were hunting for shells, this is what we were hunting for. This was like the prize of the day. Okay.
Yep.
So you can still find, you can still get some good money for these. And then to give you a good example,
Let me know.
so here is a whelk.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I've got 2 different sizes here. So do you have more to show?
Yeah, hang on.
Go ahead.
I have so many shells here. Okay, to show you the difference in size, here's the whelk, and here's a whelk. All right, so obviously if you find giant ones, that's going to bring you some money. If you find perfect specimens of small ones, that'll bring you some money too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is a giant whelk.
Yeah, I think yours is a little bit bigger than Mom. This is pretty big. And you will see, as they age and are exposed to the weather, they get whiter and whiter.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Those are, I think, Jason, is it actually called a lightning whelk?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's a lightning whelk, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, grab your Murex, Ma.
Okay.
So Mom had this already. That's a Murex.
Quite a lovely shell. It really is.
Yep.
Unique.
And I bought this one at an estate sale last week. almost identical.
Now, what'd you spend, honey, on yours?
$3.
I know. I mean, really. And wait till you see what these are selling for, gang.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're great.
All right, let's. I'll save that for a sec. Let's do some coral now. Definitely, do not go out and chip out live coral. And if I find out you did, I'm going to hunt you down and beat you with a coral. But if you find some in a thrift store where all the stuff I'm showing you has been found in a thrift store. So I want to show you this one for.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
For an example, so when I talked about bleaching, coral is kind of like this dinginess. So if you want it all pretty and white, you're gonna have to sit it in the solution of bleach and water, and it gets nice and white like that.
Right.
So both these pieces, this was picked up at a thrift store for $4, and this was at a garage sale for like $2 or $3.
That's brain coral. If you want to tell them that.
Yeah, that's brain coral.
Coral. Mm-hmm.
Here's another hunk I picked up at. This was at a flea market, I think, for about $7. And then my best 2 corals. And this one still has the Goodwill tag on it. Where is it?
That is so gorgeous.
There's the Goodwill sticker. And that is a badass piece of coral.
Yeah, that's just beautiful. And as you can tell, and we don't have all of them, there are a lot of different types of corals, everyone. Here's one of mine.
Wait, hang on a minute. Yes, my mom did say brain coral. See how it looks like a brain?
So here's a piece of mine, broken off. And I just got this actually at a garage sale for $1. And coral is, I don't know if you priced any coral lately. If you guys ever go into the seashell shops, if you're on your way to Florida, stop and take a gander. You'll be shocked at the prices. This is another different type of, I think this is the lady slipper, because it's hollow inside.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and then on the outside. So there's that one. This one is kind of unique and different. You can see that. Let me get back over into the picture better. And then this is the other side. There's some coral for you.
All right, and then I'm going to end with my last piece of coral. This, again, was I can't remember if it was a garage sale or what, but this is like my prize piece because this is badass.
Yeah, that's a beauty. Yeah, I have 2 huge pieces. They're just too big to even move. I have them.
Right. Now, to give you an example, something like this, looking this cool, this could fetch a couple $100.
Right.
Because this is an amazing specimen.
Yep. Okay, that's all I have in coral. I do have some more shells if you want to go back to any more shells. Do you want me to show you? You tell me.
Let's jump to the queen conchs.
Okay. All right.
All right. So the queen conch is readily available because that's the conch you get in the Bahamas. It's the conch you eat in conch salad, conch fritters, all that kind of stuff. And Mom's showing you one right now. So let me tell you a quick story. Those of you who know my wife, and I think my wife's in the chat, and some of you in the chat who have dined with my wife, know she's a very picky eater. She never just says, yeah, give me number 3. She says, give me number 3, take this off, do this to it, do that to it. And she doesn't eat a lot of, she eats very few things.
Mhm.
So we are under the bridge in Nassau, and they're making fresh conch ceviche. They're pulling these suckers up live out of the ocean, cracking it right there, cutting it with the rustiest knife you've ever seen in your life, and making fresh ceviche, and she loved it.
Now, it's also known as conch salad, because there's a couple of different kinds, and the newest one that they've added in the Bahamas is now the fruit conch salad, where they also include, in a conch salad, mainly it's the conch, of course, that comes out of the shell, alive, and they cut it up right in front of you, and then there's tomato and green pepper and onion, and then the juices they use are from a special, it's like a combination cross of a lime and an orange and a lemon. So they squeeze this juice on it to marinate it, and it is delicious, you guys. Now, this shell here, as you can see, all intact. This shell here, can you see the hole? That's where they have to crack it to pull the conch out of the shell. So these are a dime a dozen. And there are mounds and mounds and mounds of them in Nassau, in the Bahamas. So if you are going to buy these shells, and they do have them for sale, and you see the hole, no more than $5. No more, because they're so plentiful. This, on the other hand, because it's intact, it wasn't used for that, will definitely bring you more money. So there's the difference.
Now, funny enough, we did not compare. We knew we were talking about shells. I have one intact, and I have one with a hole in it. Now, but here's the key to selling the conch. The prettier the pink,
yes,
the more money you're going to get. This one's gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, I should have won. I have some conch jewelry. They make jewelry out of the pink shell from the conch, and it is gorgeous, and you'll see that a lot throughout the Bahamas.
And I was going to say, oh, and see, this one's kind of a mess, too. See how it's all kind of peely? So this one's just good for decor in the back corner of your seashell collection.
Right.
This would be great to sell. It's nice and pink. It's intact. You know, you probably get like $35, $40 for this.
Yeah, don't leave those out in the sunshine, because it will bleach out the color, and then you will lose it forever.
Yep.
So make sure you don't do that. Oh, here.
Yo, go ahead.
All right. These are known as a helmet shell. Let me get myself out. Okay. This is a helmet shell, everybody. Okay? Let me show you this. And they're pretty good size. And there are male and female helmets. Whoops. Here's my price at a garage sale.
Oh, wait. Here's mine with my $5 price tag.
Well, are we going to wait and tell them what the value is on all of these? Is that
no, go ahead.
Okay, well, a helmet shell, and this is a pretty good size one. It's probably about 8 to 10 inches tall. This will sell for around $60 to $75, just to give you an idea. And here is a smaller one. There's a queen and a king. There's a male, female. Here's a smaller version. Let me back it up a little bit. And the back side. So these are helmet shells. Helmet, queen and king. Okay? And sometimes they're even more colorful. You'll see the prints even in prettier shades than what mine are. But $5, can't pass it up. But of course I don't sell them, so.
Yeah. All right, so I've got 3 examples of the helmet. So this is the one I just picked up at the estate sale for $5. If I wanted to flip it, I could make good money. This one, now you may think, oh, they cut the top off to get the animal out. Nope. This one is now to signal that the tiki bar is open.
Oh yeah. Love that, Jay.
So that's they blow this when they're lighting the tiki torches throughout Hawaii.
Right. That's well. I'm sure you all know.
Hang on, Theo, hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, you've seen normal size ones. Now it's time for the big dog. Oh, look at this monster.
Oh, that's a beauty. Oh, nice helmet.
Here's the one I was just holding.
Uh-huh. Yeah, nice.
Again, I found this thrifting. Look at that sucker. Now, it's not as pretty in color, but, man, it's a hell of a specimen.
It sure is. That's a beauty.
All right, what you got there, Seal?
Okay, this is one of our rare, well, I had to buy this one. I mean, I didn't find this at Fort Myers, but But this is a Nautilus. I'm sure a lot of you know a Nautilus. Quite rare. But what I did do, I'll show you how I have this kind of set up. This is one of my displays in my home. And the sand is black sand from Hawaii. Shh, don't tell anybody I brought it home. So that was from the big island of Hawaii, where all the lava, forms down into the beach, and it's known as Black Sand Beach. And I've got a few other different kinds of shells in there. This one here being an alphabet cone. Okay.
So that's called an alphabet cone because if you look at it, you'll see letters in all those little dots.
Yeah, so that's an alphabet cone.
So before we go on, people are asking if size trumps color. It'll all depend on the specimen and the customer too. So this giant one is awesome. Like I would get well over $100 for this for the size. Had it happen to have a better color right here, maybe 200.
Right.
Whereas this one's got some nice color. Here, look, it still has the saver sticker residue on it. See? This one has some nice color. So you're going to sell this one on the color. You're definitely going to market this one on the size. And if you sell one that you can blow, take a video of you blowing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which sounds way dirtier than it actually was.
This here is a scorpion shell. Here's my price tag at my garage sale.
Oh, I got one of those right here.
A whole $1. A whole $1. Now, here's a good point. Not all seashells that are worth big money are big. How about if we show this little guy, JT? This is
when you talk about holy grails of things, this is the holy grail of seashell.
This is called a Junonia. And it is, you find them in Fort Myers, Sanibel area. And when you do find it, like I said, it's the holy grail. I have found one in my lifetime of all the shelling that we have done over the years. This one I got at a garage sale for $1. And these are worth some good money.
Yeah, and I'll show you a sold one in a minute here.
Okay.
All right, so we talked a little bit about bleaching. When you find sand dollars, they look like this, or
one that's
like that.
Dark gray. Yeah, dark gray. There you go. That's good.
And then when you bleach them, I don't have a sand dollar handy, but I do have a sea biscuit, which is about the same. Just a fat sand dollar. So you bleach it out so it looks all nice and pretty. But I do like the coloring on this one's pretty awesome. It's like there's water on it.
Yeah, that's really a good looking one.
Now, these are not big sellers by themselves, but if you had a bunch, then yeah. And they'd be more about art projects than like these other shells. People want them on display.
Yeah, in Fort Myers area, there are a lot of sandbars where the sand dollars nest. And sometimes you walk on the sandbars and there's thousands of them everywhere, but still they are alive, so you cannot take them.
And how do you bleach them? You soak them in a bucket with I don't know if it was 50-50 or what, but
not quite. It doesn't take much Clorox to bleach them out.
All right, so maybe 1/4 to 3/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, do not. And I see the discussion going on the board. Yes, none of this we're talking about. We're not talking about harvesting live anything.
No.
We did when it was cool. It ain't cool no more. But we're talking about you can find all of this in thrift stores and garage sales across the country.
Yep. This is one I've had for quite a while, and this because I found it way back in the day. We call them shark eyes. It was alive when I found it. It's very big. Oh, good Lord.
Who doesn't know you're doing a show right now?
I know. And it's just one of those rare finds. When you see these, normally they're very, very small. This, as you can see from the size of my hand, it's a pretty good size. That's a shark eye. Yeah.
And this is even rarer find. Baby's eye? Baby's what?
Baby's ear.
Baby's ear. And this one's tricky because when this was alive, the animal encompasses the whole shell. So you kind of got to know what you're looking for.
Right.
But you find this, like when you buy little collections of shells, you find something like this.
Don't lose them.
Like that in the collection, then you would pull that out and sell that by itself.
Right. This is another larger shell. This is a type of a helmet. Let's see if I can show you that. And this actually comes from the Philippines. But no matter where you find them, if you find them at the garage sales, you're talking some serious money on resale. Okay?
All right, I think I'm going to save the big thing I got here for in a bit, and I think we're going to go to show the solds on eBay to give you guys real world, um, examples of what's going on here. All right, so here's a piece of brain coral that sold for $400. So to show you what we're talking about now, this piece is, it's a decent size, but it's only a foot by a foot by a foot. So, it's big, but it's not gigantic. Let me start back at the beginning here. This is a sea urchin. I have a little baby one right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a cute one.
But here's a decent sized one. Now, here's the trick with sea urchins. They are so fragile, I wouldn't even bother trying to list them. Because I bought one about this size at a estate sale last week. But, of course I'm going to keep it for decor, but man, they'd be tricky to ship. All right. Next, here's one of the large whelks that sold for $32. So again, you pick it up for $2-3 at a garage sale. There you go, $30. It's a hefty, sturdy shell. It'll be easy to ship.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, you take some seashells and you do some arts and crafts from the '60s, and you can make good money. You'll often see these in thrift stores quite a bit. You'll see some religious ones, some just straight up seashell ones. So here's a bitchin' one. It's a little light. And this one just sold for $40.
Nice.
And this one sold for $35. So arts and crafts definitely play a part in this too. So we're not just talking just straight up seashells. Right. And both Mom and I have these around our house.
Oh yeah.
All right. And here's another one. This is the kind of the common one. You find the one with the pink flamingo in it and the little painted coral. So if that's not your style, just keep in mind that it will sell.
Here, let me show this one, Jake. This is from the.
I just sold a Harley Davidson T-shirt. How nice.
How about this one?
There we go. See, that's exactly. Now that one gets them fetch them good money with the 2 queen conchs in it. That is gorgeous.
Yeah, I every time I find these at garage sales, and they're usually pretty cheap flea markets. I usually pick them up between $5 and $10. I haven't been able to part with those yet either, and I have about 8 around my house.
All right, so back to eBay here. All right, we're now let's talk. Let's come back to this. All right, so here's another piece of coral. Only 8 by 9¼ inches, so it's not real big. This sold for $200.
Woo!
We did that one already. Here's another piece. Stem corals, $120.
Nice.
Here's a Junonia that just sold for $130 for a ton. Now.
There it is.
Wait, Junonia is not a good example. All right, so this is a tulip. I actually think I have one right here. You got a tulip handy?
I don't.
All right, hang on a minute. I think I got one right here. I thought I
had get one if you want me to.
Well, I swear I saw one in this tub, but now I don't see it. All right, so anyway, this is a tulip. And what I learned last night, which I didn't know because I've never sold any, that when you sell seashells, you should find out their technical name.
Yeah,
like their species name. Because tulips are, the shortened version. But obviously, when I was looking at shells, when you sell them and you get top dollar, is because you know the actual shell. And people are asking, are shells widely faked? Nope. You can tell a fake shell over a real shell any day of the week. Totally feels different. I mean, yes, there are fake shells that are made, but they don't look and feel like real shells.
No, not at all.
Now here's Reef pink barnacle coral. I mean, and this stuff is like weeds. This stuff is the stuff they scrape off of boats and everything else. But if you had a nice little hunk, you get $75 for it.
Yeah, I do have a thing of barnacles, but I didn't bring it in. Barnacles sell well too.
Refresh it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do they come in clusters? The barnacles usually come in clusters.
So here's a 12-inch helmet that sold for $56. They were asking $89, and it's not a great example like the ones we were showing. Here's a Florida horse conch that was 16 inches long, sold for $55. Here's a gorgeous pink queen conch that sold for $49.
Nice.
So as you can see, as you can see, the pink continues all the way to the edge. And that's what I was trying to tell you. The better the pink, the more money. So my example, it is pink, but it doesn't come all the way out here like the example we just showed you.
Right.
So the more pink, the more money.
Yep.
Show me the pink, I'll give you the money. That works for many things.
We won't go there.
Now, somebody's asking if we would do anything special besides bubble wrap. We've never sold any. We
No.
just know they're worth money. But no, on most of these, they're hardy. So, yeah, you don't need much of anything exciting. Like I said, the sea urchins would be...
Yeah, something
oops,
you got to be kind of careful trying to maybe wrap in between the tentacles, so they don't break on you.
Hey, Mom, what were these called? Like pinwheels?
What am I looking at here? Hold on a second. Oh, no, that's
There's the actual name, but I couldn't think of what we used to call it.
Oh, gosh, Jason, I'm blank on this one, guys. And we should pick them up.
Look how big this is.
Oh, my God. Sea pens. Sea pens. Like a pen. Sea pen.
So this is just a mollusk, and somebody sold the shell for $158.
Now
here's the...
Oh, there's the foot. There's the foot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the foot is actually called the operculum. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but if you have that with it, this Florida horse skunk with the operculum sold for $510.
Oh, my God.
And then lastly, there is a trumpet. And I saw one of these the other day for $160, and this one sold for $400, but that was 2009. If that's the going rate now, I'm going to go back to the store for $160 and pick it up.
No kidding. Wow, that's amazing.
All right, so the last thing we want to show you on these eBay solds, and then we'll show you some live examples, if I can find it here. Maybe here. There we go. Giant clamshells. Now, way illegal to harvest, but there's plenty out in the wild. When I mean wild, I mean thrift stores, antique stores, people's houses. As you can see, the $5 bill shows you the size of the clamshell. And so now we're going to show you a couple real-world examples. There we go. So this is a pretty decent size one. It's not giant, but this one would get you some money. This is pretty decent sized. And then, although not real, this is brass. This would get you some money too. Although not a real shell, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So,
if you,
if you
find shells like that in a clamshell type thing, if you a bivalve, we'll call it a bivalve. You have the top and the bottom of the shell, worth money.
Way more money.
Single. Yeah, way more money. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you ready for the big dog? You ready for the what you tuned in for? Oh, Jesus. It is 30 pounds of clam, 1/2. Now, it's got a hole in it because it was used for a fountain, see?
Yeah. We have one outside. It's bigger than Jason's because you can't even pick it up with one person.
Mac Daddy, holy cow.
And we bought ours at a seashell store. They're not allowed to sell them anymore. Supposedly, of course, they're definitely off the list to harvest because they're so very rare. And if you do find one, and it's only even if it's cost you $200, buy it because they're selling between $500, $600, $800, $1,000. So giant clamshells definitely worth the big money. Ours is actually a water fountain outside in our yard. We have it running.
We should have done a video. Damn.
Yeah, we blew that. Next time.
People are asking keywords to get attention of a decorator designer. No, you might sell to a decorator designer, but as you saw, majority of the time people are buying them because they want them for their collection. So you need to know the technical name, and like I said, the more pretty the specimen, the more you'll get. Now, we're going to show you a collection we put together. Every year we shelled, and we grabbed out a bunch of our greatest shells, and so we put them together. And so this is the collection that we have. It's hanging in my mom and dad's house. They have a basement, things we don't have in Vegas. And when you walk down to the basement, they got a tiki lounge down there. This is the collection that greets you as you're walking down the stairs. And as you can see, flanked with tiki mugs and all kinds of other fun tiki bar type stuff. So let me show you a close-up of it, and then we'll talk about some of the things in the case, because I feel one of the rarest shells we've ever found is in that case.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a close.
those particular shells, we caught every one ourselves. Those were found by me or the kids, or Regan. So that's. And then when we put this together, it was really a project of love because me and my children went together to do this.
Yep. So there's a whole. I mean, we're not going to go every shell in there, but if you see the white things on the left, those are called angel wings, and those would sit a small bit below the surface of the water with these two little breathing tubes that came up, and we learned how to find them and harvest them, and they're so fragile that they're tough to come by. As you can see, there's a Junonia in there, and then let me bring up the Mom took close-ups.
I was going to say, on the angel wings, you can only dig them up, find them at night only. They do not come up during the day, so we would take our flashlights, go out in what we called the mucky duck because it was very murky, and one night we saw these prints on the sand that looked a little bit like alligator prints. Scared the heck out of us. But yeah, there they are. The white long ones are the angel wings, and they're very delicate, so when you do find them, and of course they were alive at the time, when you do find them and you go to pull them out, you have to be very gentle because they're fragile as can be, and many times we would end up breaking them as we were pulling them up and out. In fact, you go down as deep as, up to the top of your arm. That's how deep down. Even when you see the tube, the shells at least 12 inches or more below the surface.
And as you can see, this is what a bleached sand dollar looks like. All right, so let's get rid of that picture. And, whoops, wrong button. Let's go to this picture. So here's some tulips down below.
Yes.
And the second one over, this one was beat up and washed around, but Dad did a nice job of putting them in by size, so he used that one. But the one on the right is pretty good coloring. You could probably get some good money for that one.
Yeah. The entire case would probably bring a heck of a price.
Oh, yeah. So it's in a glass display case hanging on the wall. There we go. And then I'm going to show you the one I think is the rarest shell in this collection. So here we are. We're back to the whelks. These are all whelks going down to this little tiny baby whelk. but the fourth whelk up, this one right here, it is white. And it is not white because it was rolling around in the surf. It feels like it's a fresh shell when we found it. It is slick like the rest, but it's just white, like an albino. It's like an albino whelk, and I've never seen such a thing, and I always think that's one of our coolest shells right there.
The ones that are above the cockle, Jason, that come down in size, those are pear whelks.
Oh, right here, yeah.
Yeah, pear whelks.
Right there.
And then the ones over to the left of, whoops.
Go ahead.
To the left of the whelks, those are turkey wings. They look like turkey wings.
Right here, little turkey wings.
Yep. Lot to learn, but we did. We learned. We bought our books. We didn't have Google.
Yeah.
We just did our history, and our all of our information that we needed was in the books at the time. So we bought all the seashell books we could get our hands on.
All right. Before we so we're gonna get into Mom's haul because she was at a flea market all day today. But before we do that, we have a segment every week, and I have now art for it thanks to Nadine. So we're going to call the segment Mama's Boy.
I love it.
And so each week I will share a picture from my youth with you guys. And if you've known me for even a minute, you've seen me in a dress probably. You've seen me wear pimp suits. You've seen it all. And I want to show you why this all started. It wasn't me. It was, we're going to point to Mom. It was her right there. So this looks like I'm about 4 or 5 going to school for Halloween. So this is where it all started.
I know exactly.
There you go. That's what I was sent to school in, all right?
I got another one I'm going to have to dig out for you that I came across when I was finding the seashell pictures.
So that is why I am the way I am today, because from the get-go, I was put on stage, and I loved every minute of it. I loved dressing up and being me and being different. So that's where it all started. So thank you, Mom.
Oh, you're welcome.
Kay said, I made it back in time just to see this.
All my life, I wanted to be on the stage. It was just one of those things. And we did it with our kids. I have put on shows that you can't imagine. Hi, Jason. Someday we'll get into that with everybody. But
Yep.
just a frustrated actress at heart, and pushed it on to my children.
All right, so where were you today, Mom?
Okay, today I was out in a little town called Mesopotamia, Ohio, which is true Amish country. I mean, loaded with Amish. But they have this ox roast every year with a flea market. And we go every year, and this morning it was pouring rain. We did get rain here this morning. But luckily enough, we found some goodies.
So before you get to the goodies, let's show what you found first. Mom found her first fan.
Oh, yes! She came up, she says, I know you. She says, I know you from the YouTube shows. And, you know, and I said, oh, my gosh. And she says, you're the mom. I said, yes, I'm the mom. So this is Julie Brown. We started talking, of course, and she is coming out to Vegas to the eBay conference. And yeah, so she's as excited as can be. Her husband is Chris, and they're talking about going to Frankie's Tiki Bar. He said, we have to go to the Tiki Bar. And, I said, oh, I'm sure we'll be going. And so that was an excitement for me today to have my first fan come up to me that recognized me from the show. And real nice gal. Oh, here's a quick story. My husband was at a booth, and he was looking at some stuff. I was at another booth, and he was signaling to me to come, and I was purchasing something. So he left the booth and came over. He says, hey, there's a couple of little tiki statues back. Oh, this is my thrifty encounter, Jason. There's a couple of statues back at the other booth. So we go back over to find the tiki statues. They're gone. At lunch, we sit down with Julie and her husband, and we're talking about these tiki statues. She says, oh, I bought those. So she snatched them from underneath me. How about that? All right, so you want me to start showing a few things?
Yeah, so while you grab your first thing, I want to share a real quick story. Okay. So here's the pitfalls when you decorate your house. So this is just a normal starfish. If you decorate your house like this, keep in mind where your starfish go if you have doggies. So one day before we had a pug named Tiki. I came downstairs and Tiki was sitting a little far away from me and he was chewing on what I thought was his nylabone. And I went to the kitchen, and as I'm walking past him again, I'm like, that sounds way crunchier than the nylabone. I go, hey Tiki. He looks up. He has eaten 2/3 of a starfish this size, and he's got starfish bits all over him.
Yeah, our dog did the same thing to us, honey.
Yeah. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, keep your starfishes out of their area. Okay, one of the booths, brand new T-shirts, $2.
Wow.
Look at that, brand new.
The hitchhiking ghost. Now, do they glow in the dark? Have you looked into that yet?
Yeah, oh, they do. They do.
Nice. That's awesome.
2 of those, $2 a piece, and they had the $2. I know. And this is brand new also. Anybody in Chicago?
Chicago Mickey Mouse shirt? That's cool.
Isn't that different? Okay, last week I showed you one of these, but I found a beauty today.
What?
It's one of the vintage pillow covers. Now this one, you guys, it does say Aloha from Hawaii, U.S. Army. It's got diamond head down in the corner. It had $2 on the tag right here, $2. I don't know if you can see that or not. And I offered her $1, and she said no. So I went over and paid my $2. I wasn't going to argue. And she said, well, it was $5. I said, no. The tag says 2. So, she was trying to get
what size? What size was the hitchhiking ghost? Lynn Hudzik wants to know.
2 of them, extra large.
Extra large. Okay.
Okay.
So, Lynn, if that's your size or that's what you're looking for, message my mommy.
Let me know, sweetheart. Okay, I pick up vintage waste cans all the time. And I saw this one today there at the flea market.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's rusty inside, but they don't seem to care if they're collectors. And I did buy that for $5, but I'm selling these around $30, $35. Just depends. And because there's so many colleges on here, I think it will bring me some good money. I picked this up for $1/4 of vintage thermos. That'll probably send around $10 or so. Then I did find a few Hawaiian things as well. I don't know if I'm parting with her or not, Jason.
Yeah, I got one of her, maybe a couple of her, actually.
Now, she's got the Made in Japan sticker still on her foot. She
nice.
Was marked 8. I got her for $5. Okay.
How much do you think that pillowcase is worth, Ma? If you would sell it.
The Hawaii ones I should be able to get between $30 and $40 out of the Hawaiian ones.
Nice.
Yeah. And continuing on with Hawaii, the only reason I picked this up, even though my name's not Nancy, there is a pottery factory in Maui that makes this line of pottery, and I see it from time to time. And I said, well, yeah, there might be somebody out there. When you only buy something that costs a quarter, you have to buy it.
And I have a ton of that pattern around my house in a variety of things. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't want to get rid of it. Now, I bought this because flamingos do sell well, and this was it was marked $2. Yeah, $2. I got it for $1, but look at this bottom, Jason. Can you see that?
Yeah, they made kind of off-brand looking tiki mugs.
Oh, did they?
Yep.
I have not seen that before, so I thought, well, I know.
They made while you're showing your next thing, I'll bring up the one they made that is never marked, but everybody always asks about it.
Okay. Let's go into these guys. Jason will know who these are.
Oh yeah, nice. You found those today?
I did. Now, this is an artist. His name is Frank Sherman. And these are made out of black coral. You can see that they had it marked $24.95 for the set. I bought them for $15. Besides being the black coral, his trademark is accented with the white. Now, these I'm going to be reselling because I already own them. I just wanted to quick show you a couple of his pieces. So if you do find these when you're out thrifting, always look for the white and the black coral. And usually the stickers are on the bottom. And here's another piece. I mean, he makes some beautiful, beautiful things, you guys. And again, there's his sticker and the back with the white. So black coral, always accented with white somewhere on Frank Sherman. SCHIRMANN, I believe.
All right, so here is the number one Quan mug that you would see. They're not worth a ton, but they're usually not marked. So there's that one.
Okay.
This is the decanter that people tend to find from time to time. As you can see, it comes in a variety of color setups.
No.
And it's not really tiki-ish, but it definitely works into a tiki bar. And if you find it, it's easier to sell that you know it's from Quan.
Right.
There you go. A little bonus tiki love for you.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. All right. We just sold our last pair of water skis a couple of days ago. And of course, today, I know you can't see the entire thing, you guys. Here, I'm going to do it this way. Okay. Now these are newer. Okay. We had $15 on them. Dad was, hedging around, and then finally the guy said, "How about 10?" And Dad still kind of hedged around. We started to walk away, and the guy said, "Well, how about 5?" Dad turned around and paid him the $5. So, when we can buy skis, any types of water skis for $5, buy them if you're not afraid to ship them. But the best ones, those were fiberglass, but then we found these vintage ones.
Oh, cool.
Which are wooden, yeah. These are actually, they have the markings from Cedars and Roebuck. And you ask how I ship these. Well, I sent Jason some pictures. I don't know if you got them, Jason, or not. Did you get my pictures of Dad?
Yeah, keep talking. I'll bring them up.
Yeah. I
didn't realize you were going to show new water skis. I wasn't even thinking about it.
I didn't want to tell you what I had found. But water skis bring us good money. The wooden ones, guys, I'm going to put up for probably around $125, shooting for $100. The other ones will probably put up for around $55. I will take $40, somewhere around there. Water skis make me money. I have sold a number of pair, and like I say, try and find the wooden ones because they will bring you more money. But both kinds have sold, so we don't shy away, even though they are awkward to ship. But I took some pictures, and here we go. This is how we package them.
So back to back, which I didn't think of. I was thinking of staggering them front to front, but I see how Dad does it now.
Yeah.
And then he ties them together so they're nice and tight.
Mm-hmm.
And then there we go. Hey, you're using the cellophane I bought you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
And then he built a box around them, correct?
Yeah. Well, it's not actually a box. It was wallpaper. It's this real thick vinyl wallpaper. That we use, and we wrap them around the skis and tape it up and then send them off.
There you go.
You have the finishing product? I sent you the finished
Oh,
product.
no, you didn't. I didn't get the finishing product.
They didn't come through. I do have that. Well, I'll get it to you another time.
Well, if you got it on your phone, text it to me right now.
Okay, I can.
I can riff for a minute.
All right. Do that.
Yeah, so, get back to the seashells for a sec. Just keep in mind, when you see them in the store, they're not usually they're not expensive. So that's why we wanted to share with you guys, because of all the years I've been on Facebook and have been at events where people have talked about thrifting. No one's ever talked about them. So I thought, Mom and I know, let's share some knowledge. Now, I don't expect you to remember all these names and terms and stuff, but if you see something big, that's a good place to start. Big and cheap is a good place to start. And any coral looking this nice is a good place to start. So, but we did an asterisk last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm going to do an asterisk today. Something I said last week led somebody down a wrong path, and I want to clarify something. We talked about international shipping, and when I gave prices, I was giving prices just for clothing items that are under a pound. I said $17.99 worldwide first class, and $12.99 for Canada. That's just for T-shirts, shorts, dresses, things under a pound. When you get above a pound, you've got to figure out what your price are going to be. So there should be a price for your pound items, for your 2 pound items, 3 pound items, and 4 pound items. And when you get to 4 pounds, from 4 pounds on up, international goes priority. It has to be priority. So that $17.99 was just not a blanket statement for everything. It was just for lighter weight clothing items. So I would never be listing my giant clamshell for, I would definitely have to box it, crate it, figure out dimensions and weight before I even decide to list it, because it's gonna be crazy if I was going to sell that and ship it. Did you text it to me?
Yeah, well, it's going really slow here. It's trying.
If it shows up, we'll come back to it.
Come back to it. Okay, my last time. This was actually at a garage sale. We stopped at a couple of garage sales on the way home, and Dad happened to see this before I did. So I'm kind of excited, Jason.
Oh, awesome!
How's that?
Is it satin?
Yes, it is.
Oh, there are the pictures. Got them now. Okay, cool. Okay. What'd you pay for that?
She had $3 on it. We got it for $2.
That is awesome.
It's a double X, so that should help, I would think. It's got the label that says Key Promotions Las Vegas, and they got it in the 70s. And they wore it once or twice while they were in Vegas. That's it. I got the whole story. So I have to ask the expert, what have you been putting yours up for?
Well, I haven't found one that awesome, so
okay.
We'd have to do some research, but at least $150.
Okay, all right.
So somebody asked how you ship what service to use for the water ski. So let me show you the end 2 results here. So here's Dad wrapping it, getting it all prepared, and then here is the finished product right here. Oop.
Okay.
There's the finished product.
Yeah, the only way we can these is FedEx Smart Post. And these happen to be...
Mom, you kind of cut out. It was FedEx Smart Post.
Smart Post, right. These are 66 inches long, that particular pair that we shipped. Most of them have been 60 inches. And even though you read the dimensions that they allow, it says up to 60 inches, but you can do 66. You can do more. It's 130 inches total, I think. So it's very misleading. We called FedEx just to make sure on the inches that we would be okay sending this out, FedEx Smart Post. And yes, we are fine. So that is the cheapest way to go. I think that ended up costing us $12 or $14 to ship. So yeah, not bad at all. Because if you ship it priority, it'll cost you an arm and a leg. So
and you need your legs for the water skiing. Oh, thank you. I'll be here all week.
So that was my haul. So it was a good day. It was a real good day.
Yep. All right, let's get into your scores for the week.
Okay.
And then we'll wrap it up and get everybody off on their holiday weekend. So
yes, for sure.
I want to thank everyone who tuned in live on the Friday of July 4th. We got 64 live viewers. Been pretty steady the whole time, so that's pretty awesome. What's happening here? There we go. All right, Mom had sweet scores, so let's.
Our last few days have been off the charts for this time of year. I was shocked.
Oops. That probably helps if I click on that. There we go. Hey, look at that. So Alfred Shaheen is a name you should know, and if you don't, definitely do some research.
Yes, absolutely. We were in a little resort town called Geneva on the Lake here in Ohio, which is a beautiful little spot. And there's this little antique junk shop that we go into all the time just to check. And I see two shirts hanging there. And I look at the label, and of course I do recognize the name Alfred Shaheen right away. And I'm going, ooh. And I looked at her price tag. I was almost afraid because the price tag was turned over. I looked at the price tag. It said $10 for each one. I'm going, oh boy, okay. So I offered the lady 15 for both instead of the 20 bucks, and she had to call the owner, and the owner took it. So $7.50, as you can see, turned into 125. And I do have one more for sale that has a few watchers on it. So remember that name, everybody, when you're out looking for your Hawaiian shirts. And they, as you can see, they're not always Hawaiian by this gentleman, even though they're out of Honolulu. He does a lot of Chinese designs as well, or Asian.
So just as an example, here's a dress that, not us, but somebody else recently sold for $280. So if you just look up Alfred Shaheen and sort by highest, this one went for $365. This one went for $400. So if it's not a name you're familiar with, I would start doing some research.
Right. So I mean, you know how you almost start to tremble because I was so excited that I had finally found some. You know, I thought, oh, we got one. Not one.
Yeah, where is it? Back up one, maybe. Yeah. So here's the other one you have.
Okay.
That's the other one you bought.
Right. This one is marked Hong Kong, Alfred Shaheen. So you know, and I do have some watchers. One watching on that one. Yeah. So yeah. So I was very excited.
So Mom sold that shirt and then sold a lunchbox for $145.
And I paid $15 for that particular one.
Now, here's my tip for you. Tell Dad to either get closer to a subject or one of you has to edit pictures. That bonanza box should be filling that square.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know.
But how much did you pay for this?
$15.
$15.
With no thermos.
No thermos. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he was much more on this pail.
Yeah, the pail we did good. This is you know, a porcelain enamel pail, as you can see, with the Sunbeam Girl, with the bread, Wonder Bread, and I paid. I think we only paid like $10 for her. $10 on the pail. So as you can see, I sold it for $70. So that was nice. Oh, this was Dad's find. Dad found, we were at a garage sale, and this fellow had quite a collection of different beer things, and Dad picked this up, and we bought that for $4. And you can see we sold it for $99.99. It's a bank. It's an actual bank. We went out and found a cork to fit it because there was no cork. So we did a little scavenging and found a cork that worked.
Nice.
Yep.
I want to read a quick thing in the chat. Thrifty Paper Garden said, thrifting can certainly be an adrenaline rush. Us old people have to be careful.
That's true.
Yes.
And there's the water skis.
Yep, those ones we just sold.
Inlay mahogany marine plywood.
Okay.
Inlay mahogany.
Okay. There we go.
Does Dad know you're doing a show?
Yeah, he was just telling me what those vintage water skis were made out of.
The new ones or the ones that just sold?
No, the ones that we just bought, the wooden ones.
All right. And then to end and tie up our whole things from the sea.
This was a garage sale down in southern Ohio, and I saw it. She had $5 marked on it, and I know that these go for big money because I see them all the time in the seashell stores. And and she was ready to almost give it away. I ended up buying it for $2 because I eat out around at the 3 and I said, how about $2? She says, oh, take it, please. I got to get it out of here. So we bought it for $2 and sold it for $85.
That is awesome.
Yep. So good week for us. I mean, we ended up extremely well for the month of June, which I was shocked at, really. So a lot of good sales.
And like we planned it, it is 2 o'clock on the dot in about 20 seconds. So it's, there was no plan. This was just, let's throw some shit together and see what happens. And boom, 1 hour on the dot. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in live.
Oh, yes.
I do not have a topic for next week, but I will figure out something.
We will.
Please do us a favor and click like over here and subscribe. I need to get some more subscribers. So down here, subscribe. And I want everyone to have a wonderful and safe July 4th weekend. And,
yes, happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah. And make sure if you got a chance at garage sale or flea market this weekend, find some goodies, share them with us. Come on over to our Facebook group, the Thrifting Board. Show us what you got. Yep. And we'd love to see your finds. Next week on Thrifty Business with Jay and Nay, it will be another Wednesday episode, and we have our first ever actual live eBay employee. Audrey Tracy, who is the social media manager, will be on the show, and she will be talking about all the avenues of ways you should be following eBay to get the most out of your eBay selling experience. So that should be a really cool show coming right from the mouths of Babe, right from eBay HQ, if you will. So that'll be awesome.
That's great.
And, Mom, what's your big plans this weekend?
Well, tomorrow we are heading down to Hartville Flea Market, which is gigantic on the holiday weekends. I mean, we can't even get through it. There are thousands of vendors. I'm not kidding, thousands. If you know what the layout of it, you have to start in a certain area first because that's where all the home people come, not the regulars that set up. So that's where you get your good deals. So we'll be at a flea market all day tomorrow and picnicking on Sunday and relaxing on Monday. How about you?
I have 1 concert tonight and 2 tomorrow. 2 tomorrow about the same time, but they're 1 casino apart, so we're going to try and hit both of them.
Good.
And I think I just figured out next week's show, Mom and Dad. Everyone wants to see Dad, so next week let's talk about how an older couple splits the duties of selling online.
We can do that without any
couple, but you guys happen to be an older couple, so let's talk about your each responsibilities and the parts you do together and the parts you do separate to make a successful business. And you just had your best June ever, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
And that's why we do the show, because you guys are killing it. Look, if my mom and dad can do it, anyone can do it. Anyone.
It's not that hard, is it? And it's so much fun. We love the hunt.
And that's why we do this show, because I've met enough people, each have their things to overcome. Mom and dad are old. Technology is not their friend. They can do it. We got a friend, Tim Taylor, who's in a wheelchair. He can do it. So if you have a friend who says they can't have them watch this show, it can be done. You do need a little help sometimes. You need a little hand-holding. We're there for you. So tune in and please share us with your friends. I think this is a topic that people are going to learn enough about to add something to their repertoire when they're in the thrift stores, at the garage sales, at the flea markets. And I challenge you to find one this weekend. Everybody go find a cool shell at a garage sale or a thrift store. There you go.
Let's see what they got.
All right, that's it. Have a good 4th of July. For selling past your expiration date, being thrifty over 50, I'm Jay.
I'm Peg.
And we're JPEG, and we're gone.
Happy holiday.
Bye.